Hello there, how's it going? That's Victor Candidate. Do you know that you can sleep 8 hours a night and still wake up exhausted? Not because you're lazy, but because sleep is only one kind of rest. In fact, most people are tired in many ways. And when I say most people, me included, right? Even when I sleep that long, I still feel exhausted. And most people are tired in many ways. And sometimes we don't have words for it. We live in a culture that is obsessed with productivity, but burned out at the soul level. In fact, people take naps, we take vacations, we take mental health days, and still we come back tired. Why? Well, because rest is not just physical, it's emotional, it's mental, it's sensory, it's spiritual, it's social, it's creative. And if we are not addressing all of these layers, all of those layers, our exhaustion is still going to linger. One author actually coined the 7 types of rest, which I think challenges or changes how we understand fatigue. The first is the physical rest. Yes, sleep counts, but so does stretching, so does breathing, so does having stillness, quiet time. Mental rest is the second type of rest. Your brain needs quiet, not just sleep, but space from decision fatigue and overthinking, especially as researchers and academics we fall under this trap, the mental rest. We don't have mental rest. Even when we're at home, we're still thinking about what to say in our course or how to grade that paper or how to rephrase the paper that we're reading. The ideas are always popping up left, right, and center, and there's no mental rest. But there's emotional rest. This is the kind where I think where you don't have to perform. It's actually where where it's safe to say that I'm not okay. And oftentimes, most of us don't get enough emotional rest. But also there's social rest. Sometimes that kind of means having a solitude. Other times it means being around people who don't drain the life out of you, right? Most of my close friends know me, know that I'm very introverted in many ways. I don't want to say I drain social interaction. That's not the case. I love people. But I know I can give 1 hour of my time and be the best extrovert in the room for an hour, right? Or be very social for an hour, and I can stretch it to 2 hours. I can stretch it out. When I say stretch it, I can. But I'll need a lot of rest before I do that. I can stretch it, but after that, I'm out, right? I need social rest. I'm the type of person, I love my personal space. If you lock me up in a room and just give me the food to eat every day, I'm okay, As if I have a computer to write from, I think I'm chill. For some of us, the 5th kind of rest we should be mindful of is a sensory rest. This is where you don't have screens, no noise, just stillness, just being, just being in nature without necessarily being distracted by stuff. Especially so for more, very much difficult having sensory rest when everything around you, has some kind of stimulation to it. But the sixth kind of rest is creative rest. This is where this kind of letting, you let beauty and wonder and nature to refuel your imagination. And oftentimes a lot of social content creators and even a lot of writers, we fall under this trap where because we're always doing stuff every time, one day of the week when we should be resting is the time when we'll catch up on all the stuff that we've not done. And oftentimes we run the risk of not having creative rest. But sometimes it's important to let beauty or wonder or nature to just refuel your imagination so you can get back to yourself. But lastly, is spiritual rest. And spiritual rest is about connecting with something bigger than you. Connecting, it could be to God, it could be connecting to your purpose, it could be connecting to a deeper meaning. And when you think about all these things, that's where flourishing comes from. Flourishing is not just about doing more, it's about doing well. It's about doing well, and doing well ultimately requires us to rest well. Not just occasionally, but regularly and intentionally. And true rest in that sense is not indulgence. I think it's restoration. It's what makes our creativity sustainable. It's what makes our relationships with people more richer. It is what makes life more vibrant. And so I think if you are still with me and you've not like tuned out of this video and somehow you're still tired in your daily life, ask yourself this: what kind of rest am I missing today? What kind of rest is missing in my life? Because flourishing, it's not just about how much you do, it's about how well you restore what's being spent. I can say that again. Flourishing is not so much of how much you do, but it's how much well you restore what has been spent. The time that's been spent, the virtue that's been spent pouring into others, the energy that's been spent changing lives, the things that you've poured out, you ought to restore it. And that's what flourishing is all about. And I hope this has been fun. Now, if you've not subscribed to this video, I hope that you could do that, because there's tons of stuff you might be missing out on. Now, if you're thinking about how to engage in spiritual rest, which is one of the dimensions, I have a book coming out later this year called Bonding with God. I hope that you can get that book right up your alley. I think there's tons of stuff in that book. It's based on decade-long research that I've done on attachment to God and the psychology of religion to help us understand how our relationship with what God was and the different phases of that relationship. And you can find where you are so that you can get to that point of proximity with God, to the point where you'll have renewal. Now, this is Victor Counted. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. You take care.